a ray of hope and sign of despondency regarding the abducted passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train attacked by bandits on Monday, the 28th of March. The bandits released one of the victims, who is the managing director of the Bank of Agriculture, Alwan Ali-Hassan, after 1 week in captivity. But the bandits have threatened to kill other abducted passengers. Meanwhile, families of other victims of the attack have called on President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene and ensure their release from the bandits. Now, we often use this word, bandits. But I changed my mind yesterday when I saw the video, official video, and I said that was released, and I concluded that this is the handiwork of Boko Haram. That there might not be a far distinction between bandits and Boko Haram again. Because the way they upload their video, the way they do their propaganda, if you look at the back of the background they were using, a bombed APC, armored personnel carrier, is what they actually used, and they had their faces wrapped and covered up. And the way they did it is not like the conventional those urchins we used to see in the bush again, and it was so organized. That means most of these attacks, or some of these attacks, especially a sophisticated one like this Abuja-Kaduna expressway, is the handiwork of Boko Haram.
There's no doubt about that. If not for the video, there would have been the cliche that bandits attacked unknown gunmen and sort of things. But these are organized groups that are well trained, that have a mission, and that are determined. They use IED, which involves some training before you can plant bombs on a rail track. And it also involves some kind of intelligence gathering that may even suggest they had an idea of who and who. And
you will time it to detonate.
To detonate. They suggested that they had an idea of who and who will be the passengers in that train, because they are high caliber passengers that were in that train. And the timing of that attack and the particular areas where those attacks were carried out, it involved a lot of intelligence. And if you look at that video released by Balama, they were dressed in military camouflage. They also spoke a language that is not indigenous to Nigeria, and they said they were releasing him in the spirit of Ramadan. Well, no, it's not true. That,
because they don't even respect Ramadan.
Yes, they don't have respect. If you have respect for Ramadan, Muslims. You will not even carry out that kind of atrocity.
They're not.
So it's just mere propaganda, But it's also a confirmation that we are dealing with terrorist organizations, and it's time that we just need to admit so that we know the enormity of the problem at hand.
Now, Tony, this infiltration. These guys, we were looking at people that had aim and objective. The aim and objective is that, look, our government, they've neglected us over time, and this is an opportunity. We are going to go into kidnapping for economic reasons so that we make money. There's a sharp demarcation between these ones and the ones that are saying that, look, Boko Haram, Western education, no to Western education, and we don't want anything. They want to have their own caliphates, have their own destiny. Now, talking in terms of ideology, they might differ, but these rebels, these guys are entered Nigeria to Mali, Libya. We are seeing the handworks now.
So, you see, we've been talking about this for a long time. You see that even if they come from Mali or from the borders of Nigeria into the country, the facts that they are now here. It's not about the camp they belong to. We're having it's not a regular occurrence. It's no longer breaking news. It doesn't shock Nigerians anymore. So the question is, how do we tackle it? I don't know if they look like Boko Haram, or they look like ISWAP, or they look like the ragtag, the ones we normally see. The video, of course. It's
like Nigeria is like the next destination for terrorism.
And they are doing well. And I learned the Bank of Agriculture MD paid ransom of 100 million naira.
Because I was
so that is becoming.
I wanted to ask that, why did they single him out?
That's just as you said. It tells you that, you know, that attack was premeditated. It was planned. It didn't just happen because they went for a particular coach that has, you know, like a VIP coach of the of that particular rail train. So it tells you that it was well coordinated. There were information, they were intel, and then they released them. Please, Nigeria, we need to wake up seriously. They were sitting in the comfort of this place. Doesn't mean there's no problem. This happening in the northeast of Nigeria doesn't mean it can't come closer. It's getting closer to the federal capital. We keep talking about the same thing. So we have them in the south because, but then this is where it's coming. I mean, this hijacking, going into a train, a moving train, stopping a train. I've never heard of that in Nigerian history. This is the first time. So it means we have to wake up. Our security system need to be activated. They need to wake up. They need to go, you know, sit on the table and re-strategize. It's coming close. That is, it doesn't affect us today. It doesn't mean it will not come close. I mean, who knows who's next?
When you look at the guy
carrying strange.
An RPG,
yeah,
one of them carrying an RPG, and I look at, they went to a military base in Kaduna State and they overwhelmed the military, killed 12 of them, 14.
And that appears to be
that
appears to be the handwork of another terrorist cell. People are pointing accusing fingers to the Ansaru, which is the de facto faction of Al-Qaeda in West Africa. So you have a situation where you are
strong.
Yes, you are having pockets. You know, the group was not very active, you know, up to 2015, but it seems it's coming up now. Maybe they have been emboldened by
and funded,
heavily funded. And these are groups that have international connection. Most of their leaders have training in Somalia, in Nigeria, you know. So we are dealing with a very complex problem. And I think, like I said, you know, this happened, you know, in Kaduna and all that. We now need to take proactive measures because Kaduna, Abuja is a prime rail track. Lagos Ibadan is another prime one. So if they can succeed and nothing happens, we should be conscious that they will have next targets. And that means we need to take precautions. Not just the federal government, but the state governments also. They shouldn't just wait for the federal government to say, okay, if you are rail track that passes through your territory, this is the time for you to work out your own intelligence mechanism without necessarily waiting, you know, for the federal government before you have your own shock.
Tony, do you think it would be fair to blame the federal government for, you know, their inaction 100%, as in knowing that, look, it just happened that at this point in time, this government is just lucky that this remnant from Libya, Mali, Nigeria is now like a fortress.
Yeah, now we know. Yeah, see, we have a problem. We've been able to situate it. The solution is the next. We say we've infiltrated Nigeria, so we know that we know. For help. So what do we need? Yeah, exactly. You heard the governor of Kaduna State saying, "Why I wish I in a way can we just do this once and for all? We can't wait and watch these guys come closer to us. It's getting closer to everybody. Whatever that needs to be done now should be done immediately. Immediately. It's not about federal government. No. I think the president meets with the security chiefs like on a regular basis, like weekly, all the time, and they give him information. And at times I wonder, what do they actually discuss? Because I want to see a situation, the meeting after the president, I want to see something different. It's all the same. The chief of defense staff was at the scene, the chief of army staff was there, the inspector general of police was, I mean, you don't need to do all those things. Sit on your job, do it. You don't need Mr. President to tell you, go and do this. If you cannot function effectively, then resign. People cannot be dying every day. For me, our security system needs to be, we need to rejig it. Things are not working. People are dying on a regular, and now we don't even, they said you have about 190 or 40-something people still missing, unaccounted for. And we are going to bed and sleeping and wake up and eat. Something needs to happen. Something needs to happen. Just as he said, we don't know who's next. Because as we're sitting there plotting again, Are we plotting? Are we reactive or proactive? We need to change our strategy.
The family of this managing director of the Bank of Agriculture, Alwan Ali-Hassan, or the family of others that were actually abducted, some might have been contacted, some they might not have contacted. But the basic thing here is that I want to believe that this one parted with something before his life was saved. I can't substantiate that, but I know for the man to come, they said they left him off the hook in the spirit of Ramadan. That's like
the family said the exchange hands.
In line with precedents and tradition of terrorist organizations in Nigeria, it's not likely that anyone will be captured, that high caliber person, and then he will just be released to go on bail without paying something very huge. So there is very strong suspicion
by paying,
that a lot of money, of course, what are they using the money for? They are not investing to businesses. They are not investing. They are not by buying slicker cars. You know, they are investing the money. You know, buy arms. And I know the dangers this poses to our future. The present and also
now
the future.
number of people we can't even see the number of people that are left that have been abducted. A lot of people they've declared their missing. They've been declared missing. Their family have been coming out to say we don't actually know what has happened. You know,
we actually don't know the number of people in that train. Some people said 962. Some people said 970. We don't have the figures, and we don't have the actual names of those people that are that, and that shows how poorly organized that we are. Because in other countries, 24 hours we have received the list of.
I'm boarding God is good mottos now. I write my name online, and
there are so many
questions they will ask me.
There are so many volunteers. Some people will buy, you know, that.
So there will be a manifest.
You know that route is very lucrative. Some people will buy and sell. You know, because when you really want to go to Abuja in a hurry from Kaduna. So what usually happens, I've been there before. You get there, there are no seat for you. Then you buy a ticket somebody has already bought.
So you don't need to face.
Yes, so the name that you may not actually use your name. It happens. Wow. So in an organized system you should have a computer that all the names of people boarding, you know, the train will have them in 24 hours. But even now, there's no official figure. You know, people are coming up with all sorts of figures that nobody's really sure. Even the list of those that have been adopted, we don't know them. We don't have the list. So it's like every family is left on its own to take care of its own trauma.
Now, if we have to negotiate with this, if they have to negotiate individually and everything, they will reach out to them and...
Yeah, I'm sure they are doing that individually now. All they just need to do is to collect their phone numbers. And of course, who is going to be waiting for the government? People have to, in a desperate situation, you have to do what is necessary to ensure you secure your loved ones. And unfortunately, some of these people that have been kidnapped, we may never see them again.
Wow. Tony, they threaten that they are going to turn that camp into a butcher camp if people don't pay.
It's a great pay, and then at the end of the day, people will pay the ransom. The MD, they were not verified, as you said, paid 100 million. Everybody is doing it individually because the Nigerian security system will take time before it gets to the. So we're not even rescue one person in Nigeria. Let's be realistic. I mean, and this will they use phone. I don't really understand. That's another angle that baffles me the most. They make these calls with phones, and this is a country where just yesterday, 2 days ago, the Minister of Communication was saying if you don't link your phone with NIN, it's going to be blocked. So I want to know what this wahala is all about. Why are you doing that? If we cannot track these people, they are using a phone. Why can't we track them? They are within Nigeria. And if they are within the fringes of the borders or within the border area, you cooperate with the other country. If I know that we're serious to deal with this issue, we will succeed. If we are really serious, prepared, we will succeed. Because you can't just come to a train, take hundreds of people and disappear into thin air. And 2 weeks now, we're still talking about it. We've not heard that government have been able to rescue one person, 2 or 3. Then we are talking about 100. So it's going to take, so individuals are going to do this by themselves. They're going to raise this money and they're going to do it quietly. People have been doing it in Nigeria when the kid, because of you go to the police, they tell you take your time, don't deal with them. And you don't want your loved one to die. So you're going to go borrow or do whatever, sell properties just to rescue these people. So we're empowering them economically, and it will continue to thrive. If we don't do the right thing, this business, because I'm seeing it as a business for them, we continue, and until it touches, it's going round.
Wale, this is beyond, obviously, this is beyond Muhammadu Buhari. That's our president. Yes, people will say the buck stopped on the stable and everything, but believe if you have this trend, if it persists till next year, whoever becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be inheriting this kind of problem.
Yes.
And you will need a certain approach to tackle this problem head on.
It's going to be more difficult if the system does not produce a competent leader. It's going to be more complex, and it may even get worse. We need a leader that is very firm, that is very decisive. We need a leader that is very intelligent, that has knowledge about security, and that is determined to put an end to this. And it's not just about, buying military weapons and all that. You also need to create an economic environment that will make terrorism less attractive. Because this thing has accumulated over the years. People have suffered so much economic derivation. People have lost their jobs. People are in a very desperate situation, and they are ready to do anything to live. You see what is going on even in southern part of the country. A lot of ritual killings, a lot of murder. People, knocking the head of a child on the wall. 2 years of people killing their mothers. So we have been pushed to the extreme of everything. And people, when they are pushed to the extreme, they just want to survive and they will break the law. So it's not just about, corruption. You have to tackle corruption. You have to create an economic environment that will give jobs to people. If you don't do that, Boko Haram and terrorist groups will continue to recruit from the mass of unemployed and hopeless people in our country.
Saying mass of unemployed people, because when you look at the level of unemployment, you look at poverty rate, and all this make their offer, whatever they are bringing, to be enticing, because they keep recruiting. Yes, we keep decimating them, and they keep recruiting. Look at banditry. Look at the way they are spreading their gospel all around the north.
They are firmly on ground now, because I will blame the economy, recruitment jobs and all that, not there. But then, even if you create that same job, this one is, to them, it's more lucrative. They tested it, and they see that, here, you have some herders still doing, you have some herders doing this job. And to sell a cow, maybe you sell like 150 and all, and then you're making millions. So it's going to take time. Government needs to really sit down. A lot of things needs to be done here. The intelligence of the issues, the intelligence agency, are we really doing enough? Because the government has denied many times that some states in Nigeria, some local governments and communities are not under the control of these people. But we heard from authoritative sources that there are some areas still in their control. There are some ungoverned spaces in this country, which means that is where government has failed. Because if you're a governor of a state, for instance, and some part of your states are not within your control, you're expected to do certain things. If it's too much, call out to the federal government and keep saying, this culture of denial is where we're going. That's the problem we have. When it happens, you say, no, it didn't happen. 10 people died. No, it's one. Even if it's one, Nigerian life, our lives in this country matters. It matters. So providing job, good, but we still need to go and do our homework. Things are not working at all. Nigeria invests so much in security. Like yearly budgets. I know what the Nigerian army alone, not to talk of the whole defense budget, takes. So at the end of the day, we ask ourselves, is it just to buy bullets and guns or APCs and armored carriers and all that? Do they actually invest in intelligence at all? Do we invest? If we do, we shouldn't be having this problem at all. We shouldn't be having this problem at all. We need Nigerians to speak up. That it didn't happen to us doesn't mean people are in that forest not till tomorrow. They don't even have hope. Nobody is reaching out to them. Nothing. We can't continue to run a country this way.
You've Jordan, your group, you've done a lot of alternative dispute resolution and I've attended some forums. They've said, look, we can't solve it through the military might alone.
Yeah.
Now these guys, they've infiltrated and they are recruiting. They've infiltrated our ranks and they are recruiting from our young unemployed
Yes.
people. So what do we do?
You know, 10, 15 years ago, we had the figures, the number of out-of-school children, you know, in the Northeast, the number of orphans in the Northeast, the number of, you know, jobless people in the Northeast. If you look at the statistics, Northeast is the poorest of the poor in this country. And that is why, you know, when the Office of Statistics comes out every year with figures, it's not just about releasing the figures. We expect people, administrators, to take those figures very seriously. So when you are having FEC meeting, Federal Executive Council, it's not just for politicians. The Director of Statistics of Nigeria needs to be there, because when he gives those figures, that should give us projection about what will happen. If they are telling you, you know, this number of students, 1 million, 2 million out of school, then you should know that there's a big trouble coming. So we have the signals, you know, but we fail to take proactive measures to counter them.